Hi, so we'll show you how to make pinch pots now. And just the basic techniques. I'll do one or maybe a couple. But first, you'll need some clay. And I usually cut the clay maybe in blocks to start out with. Start out with maybe a rectangular block, and then I cut it down to a square. Now the amount of clay you're going to use is going to vary on what you're going to use it for. So you should have a basic idea. I'll be making a bowl, like medium-sized bowl. First step is to cut it into a square, and then you want to just kind of move it around in your hands and make it into a ball. It's very straightforward. If you've made snowballs, you're good at this. And you want to make sure your hands relax so that you have a very nice rounded form. If this is hard for you, you can also use the table, pound the corners in. Try not to fold over the clay as much as possible. And you can, this takes a little more time for me, but you can roll the clay on a hard surface like your tabletop. And if you do this right, you'll slowly start to form a ball shape. So first step, whatever you do, is to make a ball of clay. Now, a pinch pot is very basic. It might be the oldest kind of clay forming technique. What you want to do is to start off by making a hole. So use your thumb to make a hole. And don't go too deep, you might make a hole in the bottom. So just go in maybe 2/3 of the way and slowly rotate the clay as you pinch with your hands. So what I'm doing is I'm pinching with my thumb and my index finger as I spin with my left hand. And just be very gentle with it. Clay is soft. And if you use too much pressure, you might end up having very weak spots in the walls, which gives you more trouble later when you try to control the shape. And just very gentle, you'll have, it'll be less stressful for your hands, and you'll have more control. Okay. So what I'm doing is just rotating as I pinch, and I usually start out, people have different ways of doing this. I usually start out by making maybe about a 1/4 inch thick wall thickness, and I make sure it's pretty even, the walls are pretty even. And then I set it on a board. It could be on the table. It could be also on cardboard if you don't have any of these, any boards, whatever, to keep it on a workable surface. Then I'll tilt the piece so you can see, but you can do this on the board directly. So first I'll tilt it. Then I start by moving the clay from the middle out with my thumb. And again, you don't have to be too careful about doing the same movement at the same consistency, but all you need to do is just keep a constant motion and constant pressure of moving the clay. You're actually pushing the clay out from the middle, and this is thinning out the bottom as I turn. And theoretically, if I do the same stroke, same amount of pressure, I'm making the walls even as I thin it out by pushing the clay out from the middle. doing it on a surface might be easier because you can spin it easier. And yeah, let me just keep on going. So, depends on what you want to do, but if you're making a sculptural piece, open forms like this could be useful for attaching it to other pieces, carving it out, stretching it later. Keeping the walls thicker usually gives you more versatility later. But you can also do other pieces that might be more delicate if you pinch further, or with smaller amounts of clay. Let's say you want like a very small delicate piece. Pinch pots are very, I find it very meditative and relaxing, maybe more than throwing on a wheel even, because you can really make nice thin pieces by just spinning the clay around in your hand as you pinch. And with smaller pieces, it might be easier just since everything can be done at this soft stage in clay. But what I'm doing is basically the same thing as what I did with the bigger piece. And I usually just kind of, I even do this just walking around class while watching students work. It can be very, what do you call it, thoughtless in a way. But, where it gets thinner, you want to use less pressure. And if you want to shape more, again, you can push out from the middle to open up the shape. And yeah, just basic pinch potting exercise.